Welcome back, guys. Jonlar here with another episode of Thought Play, the series where I take topics suggested by you guys in the comments and other places, and I talk about them while playing a variety of different games. Today we are playing Brawl. It's a much smaller sort of game that was developed by the same company that made Cluster Truck. If you saw my video on Cluster Truck a little while back, it's actually a really fun sort of dogfighting game. There's like 6 different planes, and each of them has a few different loadouts you can customize a little bit, and you play a variety of different game modes. It's actually a lot of fun, but the player base is fairly small right now, so it's free. If you want to check it out, I highly recommend it. It's on Steam, free, easy to get. And the topic we're going to be talking about today is my computer and how I got my computer. As I guess some of you know, I don't want to say most of you because some of you might not, but my computer that I use to make all my videos and stuff here now, I did make myself. I built it. I bought all the parts. I saved up the money, all of that, and somebody suggested this. I could check his. Okay, sorry, I just realized my voice recording cut out when I went to check his name. Anyway, his name is Down Gaming, and he is looking to build his own computer, and he wondered how I sort of saved up the money and did all this stuff to actually be able to build mine. And I like this topic a lot because I know that's something that a lot of you can either relate to, like you've been there, you've saved up for your own computer, or you are currently trying to do so. And yeah, I just feel like this is a good topic. So yes, my computer here that I built, oh my, 2 years back now? 2 or 3 years back? Two. Must have been 2. Between 2 and 3 years ago. It costed $1,200 approximately for the build, and then I can't remember if that was kind of just the computer, and then some of the other stuff like the desk and stuff that I had to get costed a little bit more then. But yeah, I actually saved up for a very long time to get this. I didn't necessarily work a job or anything during this time, so I wasn't, getting like a steady, significant income from something like that. I just did a variety of chores and saved up my money pretty much. And yeah, I was eventually able to build it. I think I saved for over 2 years actually. I think it was like about 3 years before I actually ended up building my computer that I sort of was thinking like, hey, what if I got my own computer to start doing stuff with? And I think at that point it was just sort of like, hey, that would be cool. And then I was looking around different computers, looking at pre-built computers versus building your own computer, just sort of going through and thinking about all of that I could, just looking up everything, doing all the research, decide what I wanted to do. And that was kind of the point where it's like, you know what, I think I do want to build my computer, because generally building your own computer, it's cheaper, you have more ability to customize it, you get to actually build it, which is actually a ton of fun. I love building computers. And it's generally, that's what I decided I wanted to do. I decided that I wanted to build my computer. So this is the point that I was like, okay, well, with my parents, this probably isn't even going to happen, but if it is going to happen, I'm going to have to ask them. So this is the point where I went to my parents and said, hey, how's it going? I want to build a computer. And had that conversation. I don't really remember too well, but I can assume from what I do know about my parents, it took quite a while to convince them. And then when they finally did agree to let me build my own computer, it was obviously under the circumstance that I would save up the money and do it, on my own. And, for a kid coming out of 8th, or well, actually, I don't know when this was probably during 6th or 7th grade. I built my computer the summer between 8th and 9th grade, in case you're wondering. That was the summer that I built it. Yeah, so I got the sort of approval of my parents, and I'm like, okay, money. That's going to be the next step. So I just kind of started saving. Wherever I got money, I saved it. Whether it was a little bit of allowance you get from doing chores, or if it was, like a gift for birthdays or other holidays, I started just sort of keeping that money, saying, someday I want to get a computer, and, this money is going to be helpful for that. Then once I started getting a more significant amount of money saved up, somewhere, I don't really know how much, somewhere, $200-300. It starts getting to a point where it's like, okay, maybe I will be able to do this. I was like, okay, so this is when I finally have to make the decision. Do I get a pre-bought or do I build? And I was pretty confident I wanted to build, but I did a little more research on pre-bots, looked around, saw things like Origin Gaming and stuff where you can get, custom computers built for you, so you don't have to do the building. And, I thought about that, but, that's more price than too, and it's like, you know what, I'll just build it. So the next step was actually deciding what I was going to build, choosing the parts for my computer, choosing what I wanted to build, how much I could afford. And luckily I had one or two friends at the time who had built computers, so they were able to sort of recommend me some things to do. And I also watched so many videos on YouTube. You don't understand how many videos I watched on building computers and picking the right specs and stuff. I remember one series specifically that I used constantly through the process of making my computer was one of the How to Build a Computer series is made by Newegg, which is also a great company where you can buy all kinds of different computer and electronic parts. I don't know, I probably bought half of my computer on Newegg, so that's just sort of fun fact there. Yeah, so just watching videos, figuring out how it all worked, that I found that to be extremely helpful. That sort of made me get to the point where it's like, okay, this is something I can do. So, from those friends and from those tutorials, I ended up using a website called PC Part Picker. A lot of you will probably recognize it if you've built computers or if you've considered building computers. It's what I used to sort of pick the parts for my computer, and I was extremely happy with it. It makes everything very easy to organize. It can look for compatibility issues and stuff for you. It gives you an estimated wattage for your computer, the build that you have set up, so you can choose how big of a power supply you're going to need. It's just a really nice site. I was very happy with it, and I used it throughout pretty much the whole process of actually building my computer, or actually getting the parts to build it. But I kind of, got to the point where I had my fairly accurate sort of guess at how much my computer was going to cost, and it was sitting around that 1,000 to 1,200 range, and it's still a ways off. I don't really remember. I'm trying to sort of keep when this was, but I really don't know. It was a while back. So, probably about a year ahead of time, it's like, okay, I've still got to make a lot of money if I want to make this happen. So, what I started doing is just working all kinds of chores, offering to do things that I wouldn't normally do for my parents. Like, mowing the lawn was not one of my chores, but while I was saving up for the computer, I was mowing our lawn, I was mowing our grandmother's lawn, I was doing anything I could to get a little extra money, and it starts to add up, with the number of times you end up mowing the lawn, and I'm trying to think, what else did I do? Just general chores, Christmas, birthdays, all that, kept saving that money, But you get those big checks coming in the mail from your relatives farther away that couldn't get you anything, I just kept it. It's like, this is going to the computer, this is going to the computer. Got a little bit of money for my 8th grade graduation. My parents aren't usually big on doing that kind of thing, but they did. I'm not sure if I actually convinced them to, or if they did that on their own, but I got a little money off of that, and just, slowly this started to add up, and I started to get enough money, but I think the year that I decided to build my computer was the year I made the most money for my computer. So, this sounds a little weird, but I kind of got to a point where it's like, okay, if I want to build a computer, I want to build it over the summer, I want to build it toward the beginning of the summer, so if I have any issues, I can figure them out before I have to worry about school. And so I kind of got to a point where I struck a deal with my parents. It's like, okay, so look, I've got this much money. It's not enough to buy the computer yet, but it's fairly close, maybe, $800 or something. And I'm like, can I tell them, the same thing that I just told you guys, want to build at the beginning of the summer for those reasons. And, can you guys pay for the rest of the computer for now, and I'll pay you back later, kind of taking a loan sort of thing from my parents. And luckily they were actually okay with it. I guess my previous work ethic from, trying to save up the money for the computer the past year or so had worked off pretty well from there, I was able to get the computer parts, I built it, all of that went pretty well, and I was actually able to make the rest of the money that I needed pretty much that summer because somebody moved in nearby to us, or was moving in nearby, but didn't actually have the, like, they weren't moving yet. They were moving, but not, like, at the end of the summer they were going to move. Because they hadn't sold their house back wherever they were before or something. So they asked, or somebody recommended me, I don't remember if it was a parent or somebody, I don't know, somebody was able to recommend me, so I was able to mow their lawn the whole summer too. So now this is like 3 lawns I'm mowing. I'm mowing my lawn, my grandmother's lawn, and now these people's lawn. And the really nice thing about these people, and this is on top of all the other chores and saving and everything I was doing before, but the nice thing about these people is apparently where they came from, the cost of living must have been a little higher or something, and what they expected to pay somebody who's mowing their lawn was more than what we would normally get around here. And they were, you know, they must have had good jobs or something, they were able to do it. We mentioned it to them and they're like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. So I was getting quite a bit of money from them. I was able to get pretty much all the rest of the money that I needed that summer, and I was able to pay it off. I had my computer, I had it all paid off, and I don't know, it was a good experience, I think, because I learned a lot about saving money, working, you know, working for something like this, like a computer, and being able to save the money and put the effort into it, and just being able to, like, look back, you know, sitting here at my computer and think, this is mine. I did the work, I did, you know, pretty much, I worked, I saved, I did all the stuff to make this happen and make this be here. And I don't know, it's a good feeling. So if you are wondering if you want to make a computer, if you want to build a computer, if you want to save, obviously make sure it's okay with your parents' stuff, but, you know, I think it was a good experience for me at least, and I would recommend it for other people. I would recommend building a computer, at least saving and getting a normal, like a pre-build. It worked well. I liked it. I was happy with it. I think I just drew on the end of this way too long. It looks like I'm going to have to add another clip. This is going to be a longer video, but, you know, it's kind of a longer topic, too, if you think about it. There was a lot to talk about. I think I got most of it in, though. If you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment section below. Other than that, hope you guys enjoyed. Please remember to leave any topic suggestions that you might have that you haven't mentioned to me yet in the comment section below. And yeah, I guess that's it. So please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.
Shut up, John.